First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Gainesville police have arrested a suspect connected to the shooting yesterday at the Ridge Apartments. Good evening. It's Tuesday, February 14th. I'm Austin Landis.
And I'm Daniela Hurtado. Thanks for joining us. We have an update on a shooting that took place at the Ridge Apartment Complex yesterday afternoon.
Officers rushed to the scene, and today they are still there gathering more evidence.
WFT's Kelly Grossfield joins us now with the details.
One man is dead, a shooter is in custody, and a community is in shock. Monday afternoon, officers rushed out to the Ridge after receiving a call confessing to a murder that had taken place shortly before. 24-year-old Catherine Tonner called GPD at 12:30 yesterday to say she had shot someone inside her Gainesville apartment. That someone? Her ex-boyfriend, Jose Ortiz.
Officers got to the apartment and they located the victim deceased, apparently from a couple of gunshot wounds to his head.
Police say Tonner fled to her parents' home in southwest Gainesville, where she made the call, turning herself in.
It is actually quite rare for the suspect in a shooting to call police and say, here I am, this is what I did. So it's very unusual.
Alachua County deputies located her and a weapon, but are still unsure who owns the gun. The Ridge refuses to comment on the shooting, but sent its residents a text alert at the time, stating only that the property was safe and that there was an ongoing investigation.
No one really knew what went on. We had to get outside sources to even figure out that there was a shooting here.
Tonner was booked into jail late last night. The initial charge is first-degree murder. She's being held without bail. Officers were able to find out that Tonner and Ortiz had recently broken up, but they are still investigating Tonner's motive.
Thank you, Kelly, and happy Valentine's Day. It's been a really warm Valentine's Day so far, but I hope it cools down as we're heading out tonight.
Right, I hope so too, but UF forecaster Amanda Hawley did tell us we could be in for a humid evening. She joins us now from the Weather Center. Amanda, what should people expect if they're out celebrating tonight?
That's exactly right. A humid evening it will be. Some clouds will be increasing throughout our atmosphere over the next few hours, and that's thanks to an approaching cold front. Temperatures are warm right now, especially warm for this time of year. Check it out, 78 here in Gainesville, 80 just a few minutes ago in Ocala, 80 currently at the Villages. So it's a warm afternoon out there. It's still pretty comfortable though, although the southerly wind that we have going on, it is going to bring in some more moisture, and it will be a humid evening. Still pretty comfortable though for this time of year. Here's your hour by hour this evening in the mid-60s by 10 p.m. and then temperatures will drop to the upper 50s by 4 a.m. and that's where we'll stick around for your morning drive. But this evening will be comfortable. Tomorrow though, our weather pattern will be changing. We do have a low risk for some severe weather on your Wednesday morning through your Wednesday afternoon, and the risk here does include a low risk for some damaging winds, an isolated tornado, and small hail. We have a low pressure system developing in the state of Texas right now, and that's going to be making its way towards us here in the state of Florida on your Wednesday. So I have much more details on this coming up just after the break here, and I'll keep you updated. Back to you.
Thank you, Amanda. Well, Gainesville city leaders spent their Valentine's Day celebrating the state of the city.
The mayor and others gave upbeat speeches this afternoon about progress being made and what lies ahead. Evan Moon joins us now live from the Gainesville Police Department, where the mayor delivered his annual speech.
Austin, Danny, the State of City address is meant to highlight things from 2016 while laying out the vision for the plans of 2017. Gainesville Mayor Lauren Poe delivered most of the address today.
We have many exceptional accomplishments over the past year that should make us proud as a community. Gainesville has worked to become one of the most welcoming cities in the nation to businesses by implementing or working to implement all 27 of the Chamber of Commerce's recommendations on becoming more business-centered. Gainesville must work to become a complete community for all people in every neighborhood in our city.
During the address, Poe mentioned some of Gainesville's greater achievements during 2016 for its residents. A big achievement was the completion of the new Depot Park, which has paved trails, a water park playground for children, and a store. There's also current construction next to the park as well on the new Cade Museum. And Mayor Poe didn't leave out current city issues either. He mentioned the recent struggle with Gainesville Regional Utilities pricing for residents, and that working to fix this issue over the next year would be a top priority. UF President Kent Fox also took the stand to speak about how the relationship between the university and the city has never been better. He said a preeminent university needs a preeminent city. And the community seemed to come together to celebrate the city today. At the end of the meeting, UF President Kent Fox and Gainesville Mayor Lauren Poe signed a memorandum of understanding between the two, hoping to continue the relationship between the university and the city over the next year. Reporting live from the Gainesville Police Department, Evan Moon, WUFT News.
Thank you so much for joining us from out there, Evan. Well, authorities have located a small debris field and a plane seat while searching for a missing aircraft off the Gulf Coast. 65-year-old Jasper Gerals was heading to Cedar Key from Brooksville Sunday with his teenage relative and a family friend. The trio was supposed to have lunch with Jasper's sister, but their plane never landed. Given the emerging evidence of a crash, a cousin says she's still clinging to the hope there were survivors.
You know, I'm praying for the best, because I mean, it's family, you know, and we grew up close, so, but I have faith.
Relatives are gathering in Brooksville as they await word from the Coast Guard. And some women don't want anything to do with guns, and then there's the other end of the spectrum.
Like members of the Well-Armed Women chapter in Gainesville and McCanopy. WFT's Maddie Salazar joins us now with a look at the organization.
Yes, ladies, it's actually a bit of a surprise when you first walk into their weekly events, but the chapter welcomes women of all different kinds of experience to train together and learn safe gun handling skills.
Safety was a word repeated over and over again. Today, participants of the Well-Armed Women in Gainesville McCanopy chapter are educated, equipped, and empowered. The national organization encourages these women shooters to join together every week. Today, they specifically focus on training goals and shooting journals. Some of the important things to learn, as well as how to use a firearm correctly. Candy, her friends call her, says she was attacked, and it wasn't until she joined Well-Armed Women that she began feeling safe again.
Feeling more confident. I'm not scared to go out. I'm not always looking around of who's going to get me, so I try.
Progress shows once someone gets comfortable and keeps practicing.
You know, when the woman comes in for the first time and doesn't know, and then we show her how to defend herself on the range or have some fun shooting at a target, and then see her a year from now on how she has multiple firearms and how she's doing competitions now, and her family's now involved. It's a great feeling.
I got a chance to feel the power that these women feel once in the shooting range.
When you're shooting at the range, make sure to keep your arms steady, keep your eyes on the target, and shoot.
And as the instructors are constantly reminding these women, there's always room for improvement.
Well-Armed Women meet every Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. They encourage any interested women over the age of 18 to check things out and perhaps join.
Thank you, Maddie. Last night, the Alachua County Historical Commission followed up on a county commissioner's decision to place markers memorializing lynching victims. No vote was taken on where to place the markers or how many there will be. A subcommittee will study the history more before making a recommendation. There was some support for one memorial rather than various markers.
I believe that the geography of what happened is important. And so I would suggest a memorial like a historic marker near the site of the 20 or so lynchings that happened in Alachua County.
Gainesville's Confederate statue was also on the meeting's agenda. The Historical Commission discussed a new plaque for Old Joe with updated wording to add context to the war memorial. Speaking of the Civil War, there's a special relic in the region that people can visit by boat. Scuba divers say it's magic being face to face with history. Photographer Patrick Fleming and reporter Alexis Cruz take us on a little adventure that's been popular for decades.
We were thrilled with the idea of retracing the route of the picturesque Old River steamers.
Families have cruised the Swanee River for decades.
Before us were many miles of romantic river travel.
Natural springs line the historic waterway.
The girls were quick to make friends with a boy with a glass-bottom bucket.
But with wiggling toes and underwater plant life come mysteries.
Silent in the clear shallows at the mouth of Troy Springs is the visible outline of a Confederate gunboat.
The Madison has been sitting at the bottom of Troy Springs State Park for 154 years. Park manager Amy Conyers says the steamer's captain, James Tucker, commissioned the boat.
He had a regular route that he would travel up and down, carrying mail and buying from the farmers along the way and selling to other people.
The captain's focus shifted during the Civil War.
It became a gun ship. He mounted a gun to the deck of the ship, and there are stories of Captain Tucker actually rounding up some Union boats, and so he did capture some other ships during the war.
Tucker eventually abandoned the boat to fight on the front lines.
It was sunk to keep it out of Union hands.
Joe Banline runs a dive shop and scuba school in Alachua. He takes classes to see the wreckage.
It's a really unique experience seeing the ribs of an actual Civil War ship, seeing the brass that held it together, seeing the sides coming up out of the sand. Seeing the wreck of the Madison there, it gives you a contact with the past that you don't often get to experience in person. A lot of times you go to a museum and you can see things, but there's a distance between you and them. In this case, you're seeing something exactly where it was placed at that time.
The romantic old Swanee River steamers. With modern highways, the riverboats are gone.
Alexis Cruz, WUFT News.
You don't have to travel by boat. Troy Spring is close to Lake City, now part of the state park system. The spring run has its own little dock for boats and canoes to use during daylight hours.
WUFT News First at 5 is just getting started. Coming up, we'll have all the details on the resignation of former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn. His resignation came after it went public that Flynn missiled the vice president and others about discussing sanctions with Russia's ambassador.
And coming up, I've got all the details on possible severe weather for your Wednesday. For the rest of tonight, though, it will remain comfortable.